Which colors instantly make a home look expensive? Are you choosing colors that secretly make your home look cheaper? And is it your wall color that's ruining your entire interior? Here's what nobody tells you when you're standing in the paint aisle holding 17 different swatches and not sure what to pick. Color isn't actually about the color. It's about the relationship between colors. The undertone, the temperature, the contrast, the way light changes everything once it hits the walls. Most homes that feel slightly off aren't using ugly colors. They're using colors that don't belong together. People usually copy palettes from Pinterest without really understanding why they work. They get the shade right and the undertone completely wrong. A warm beige wall next to a cool gray sofa isn't a neutral palette. It's visual tension you notice every single day, but you can't quite figure out what about it is wrong. And the funny part is, expensive-looking interiors almost always follow the same color logic. Certain combinations create depth, softness, contrast, and a balance in a way that instantly feels more luxurious. So in this video, we're breaking down 5 color schemes that create a high-end effect, the biggest mistakes people make with each one, and a simple way to fix them. We'll also share exact color directions, paint tips, and designer tricks you can actually use in your own home. But before we start, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It costs less than repainting your entire living room after realizing the undertones were completely wrong. There's a very specific type of interior that exists almost entirely online. Everything is white. The walls are white, the sofa is white, the curtains are white. There's a beige coffee table trying its absolute best to save the situation. And somehow, despite costing a fortune, the room still feels cold. This happens because people confuse brightness with luxury. They think expensive interiors are built from white paint when they're actually built from depth. Pure white is brutal. It reflects light evenly across every surface, which sounds good in theory, but in reality, it removes the shadows that make a room feel layered and dimensional. The result is a space that looks flat, overly sharp, and strangely uninviting, like an expensive rental property where nobody is allowed to sit down. Luxury interiors don't just use one white, they use 20 whites pretending to be one white. That's the trick. The walls might lean ivory, the ceiling could be slightly warmer, and the trim may have a creamy undertone that softens transitions instead of outlining the edges. These tiny tonal shifts are what make a room feel rich and calm instead of sterile. And once the color palette becomes quieter, texture takes over the job of creating visual interest. Suddenly the room isn't relying on color anymore, it's relying on materials. Soft linen curtains filtering light unevenly, lime wash walls creating movement and shadow, matte plaster absorbing all the brightness instead of bouncing it back into the room, warm oak balancing the cooler surfaces, and brushed bronze adding depth without screaming for attention. That's why high-end neutral interiors feel so different in person. They're not empty, they're layered very carefully. And here's a rule that will save you from 90% of bad white paint decisions. If your white starts looking blue during the day, it's too cold. Most homes need warmth to balance natural light, the flooring, and furniture. So if a paint color feels slightly too warm on the sample card, it's probably exactly the one that will look right once it covers the entire wall. And this is exactly why testing colors in a real space matters. A paint color can look completely different once it's actually on your walls. With Planner 5D, you can build your room in 3D and test different color palettes, materials, and finishes before buying anything. So if you want to experiment with these palettes in your own space, scan the QR code on the screen or check the link in the description to start your 7-day pro trial. Beige is usually what people choose right after they realize that pure white interiors feel too cold. It seems warmer, softer, easier to live with, and generally much safer. But beige is also one of the easiest colors to get wrong, mostly because people think beige is just one color, when it's actually a huge range of undertones that don't always work together. This is why so many neutral interiors end up feeling strangely flat or slightly muddy even when every individual piece looks beautiful on its own. The walls might have a pink undertone, the sofa leans yellow, the flooring pulls slightly gray, and the rug introduces another tone entirely. Nothing clashes in an obvious way, but nothing really connects either. The room starts feeling visually confused, almost like every surface belongs to a different version of the same idea. The other mistake happens when people become so afraid of contrast that they remove all variation from the room completely. Everything becomes the exact same soft beige tone, the walls, the curtains, the sofa, the rug, and instead of feeling calm and luxurious, the space loses all sense of depth. Expensive interiors don't avoid contrast. They just create it in a much quieter way. That's usually the real difference between an average beige interior and one that feels high-end. A luxury neutral palette always has a very clear undertone direction. Everything either leans warm and creamy or earthy and muted, but the room commits to one mood instead of mixing several together. Once that foundation is clear, the layering starts to feel intentional. The walls stay lighter and softer, the larger furniture pieces become slightly richer, and the accents bring in depth through texture rather than a strong color. This is also why materials matter so much in beige interiors. When the palette itself is restrained, the room depends on texture to create interest. Linen curtains soften the light differently than plaster walls. Natural wood introduces warmth without overwhelming the palette. Stone, jute, woven fabrics, matte finishes, all of these details stop the room from feeling empty and give it that calm, expensive atmosphere people are usually trying to achieve in the first place. And before choosing any beige paint, always compare it directly against your flooring in natural daylight. If the floor and the walls are pulling in completely different temperatures, the room will never feel fully cohesive, no matter how much styling you add later. There was a point where gray became the default answer to every interior design decision. Gray walls, gray floors, gray sofas, black metal accents, maybe a marble coffee table if someone was feeling adventurous. And for a while, it worked because gray felt modern, clean, and sophisticated. It looked minimal without requiring much effort, and compared to the beige and brown interiors that came before it, the whole palette felt fresh. The problem is that most grays are much colder than people realize. A lot of them lean blue, especially in daylight, and once you combine cool gray walls with cool flooring and cool upholstery, the entire room starts sitting in the same temperature range. There's no warmth balancing the space, no softness breaking things up, no contrast between surfaces. The room can end up feeling more like a hotel lobby or a waiting room than somewhere people actually relax. This became especially obvious during the millennial gray phase when people started combining several completely different grays in one space without paying attention to the undertones. A blue-gray wall next to a yellow-beige sofa, cool-toned flooring mixed with stark black accents, chrome finishes everywhere. Nothing looked aggressively wrong, but the room always felt slightly disconnected and strangely lifeless. That's usually what happens when neutrals are chosen one item at a time instead of being designed as one complete palette. The interesting thing is that luxury interiors still use gray all the time. They just use a different version of it. Instead of those icy blue grays, they lean towards warmer grays, soft charcoal tones, and grayish shades with brown, taupe, and even subtle olive undertones hidden inside them. These colors sit quietly in the background instead of dominating the room every time the light changes. And once the undertone direction is clear, the rest of the room starts doing what gray alone can't do. Warm woods introduce temperature, linen and wool soften the sharper surfaces, leather, stone, plaster, and woven textures create variation so the room doesn't feel flat. Even darker accents feel richer when they have warmth inside them instead of pure black contrast. That's really what makes gray interiors feel expensive now. Not the color itself, but the balance around it. If your gray starts looking even slightly blue in daylight, it will probably feel too cold every hour of the day. The easiest fix isn't adding warmer decor later, it's choosing a gray with a brown, taupe, or green undertone from the beginning. That single change completely shifts the atmosphere of the room. Blue is one of those colors people choose when they want a room to feel stylish immediately. It feels bold without being risky, colorful without being overwhelming, and there are so many shades of it that it seems impossible to get wrong, which is exactly why it goes wrong so often. Most people end up choosing a blue that sits awkwardly in the middle of the spectrum, deep enough to feel dramatic. Just very blue. Royal blue, cobalt, bright navy, slightly turquoise tones that looked exciting on a tiny paint sample, and suddenly take over the entire room once they hit the walls. These colors tend to dominate everything around them because they carry too much saturation and not enough depth. Instead of becoming part of the atmosphere, they become the only thing you notice. Turquoise is probably the clearest example of this. It sounds warm and vibrant in theory, but the green undertones inside it fight with almost every material people naturally use in a home. Warm wood starts looking orange beside it, brass loses its richness, beige and cream suddenly feel disconnected, the room becomes visually loud in a way that's difficult to soften afterward. And then people usually make this contrast even harsher by pairing these blues with crisp white trim, bright white kitchens, or stark black accents. Instead of looking elegant, the palette starts feeling graphic and overly sharp, almost like branding colors instead of an actual interior. The blues that create a luxury effect usually go in one of two completely different directions. The first is very deep blue. Midnight navy, ink blue, tones so dark they almost read as black in certain lighting. These colors create depth immediately and make a room feel immersive, quiet, and intentional, but they only work when warmth exists around them. Warm ivory, aged linen, walnut wood, bronze or brass finishes, those softer materials stop the room from feeling cold and give the darkness something rich to contrast against. The second direction is the complete opposite, faded dusty blue tones with very low saturation. Soft sky blue, washed denim, muted powder blue. These colors feel calm and airy because they don't fight for attention. They pair naturally with warm whites, light woods, linen textures, and woven materials, creating interiors that feel relaxed and effortless instead of dramatic. What almost never works is the middle ground. A blue that's trying to feel moody but is still too bright. A soft blue that still has too much saturation hiding inside it. Those shades tend to feel unintentionally dated very quickly because they can't fully commit to either atmosphere. Here's the easiest way to know if your blue is in the danger zone. It starts looking electric or overly bright once it's on the wall. It probably sits in that awkward middle range. Usually the fix is either going much deeper until the color becomes rich and atmospheric, or going softer and dustier until it feels calm. Those in-between shades are the hardest ones to make feel really luxurious. Burgundy is one of those colors that looks incredible online and terrifying in real life. You see these rich, dramatic interiors with deep wine-colored walls and all of the harmonious details, warm lighting, layered textures, dark wood, those brass details. The whole space feels cinematic and expensive. Then people try recreating it at home, and suddenly the room looks like a gothic restaurant or a vampire-themed Airbnb. Usually the problem starts with the undertone. A lot of burgundy paint lean too blue or too purple, which pushes the color into plum territory very quickly. And plum behaves completely different in a room. It feels colder, sharper, and more artificial somehow. The warmth disappears, and once that happens, the entire atmosphere changes with it. The other mistake happens when people misunderstand what color drenching actually means. Right now, everyone wants those immersive interiors where the wall, furniture, curtains, and decor all sit inside the same color family. And when it's done well, it looks incredibly luxurious. But the key word there is family, not identical twins. If every surface in the room is exactly the same dark burgundy, the space loses dimension almost immediately. The walls blend into the sofa, the curtains disappear, and the room starts feeling visually heavy instead of layered. Luxury interiors create variation inside the same palette. The walls usually stay deepest. Larger furniture pieces become slightly softer or warmer. Smaller accents either go darker again, or pull in earthy companion tones like cognac, terracotta, tobacco, leather, or aged brass. The eye keeps moving through the room because the color changes subtly from surface to surface. Then there's the flooring mistake, which is probably the fastest way to ruin a dramatic room. Dark walls plus dark flooring plus dark furniture sound sophisticated in theory, but in reality, the entire room collapses visually inward. There's no contrast separating the vertical surfaces from the horizontal ones, so the space starts feeling smaller and heavier than it actually is. This is why luxury dark interiors almost always introduce warmth and lightness somewhere lower in the room. Warm oak floors, natural rugs, lighter stone, warm woven textures, those materials reflect just enough light to stop the room from feeling oppressive. One thing designers almost never pair with burgundy anymore is stark white. Bright white trim against deep red creates an extremely sharp contrast that makes the room feel graphic instead of atmospheric. Warm cream or ivory works much better because it shares the same warmth as the burgundy itself. The room stays soft, cohesive, and much more elevated. If you're testing a dark red paint, always test it at multiple times of day before committing to it. Burgundy is extremely sensitive to lighting. In cooler north-facing rooms, it can suddenly turn muddy or brown, while warm natural lighting brings out all of that rich wine depth people actually want. Okay, so you've been listening to me talk about undertones, temperature, and the politics of beige for the last few minutes, so now let's see how much you actually remember. I'll ask a question and give you 3 options to choose from. Play along in the comments and let's see how many you get right. You have warm beige walls. Which of these will make the room feel disconnected? A, cool gray sofa, B, a warm linen sofa, or C, a natural jute rug. A cool gray sofa introduces a completely different undertone into the room. And even if you can't explain why the space feels off, your eye notices the temperature conflict immediately. You want deep navy walls. What's the biggest mistake you can make? A, pairing them with warm brass hardware, B, pairing them with stark white furniture, or C, keeping the ceiling slightly lighter. Bright white next to deep navy creates a super sharp contrast that feels graphic instead of luxurious. You want to try color drenching with burgundy. What keeps the room from feeling heavy? A, bright white accents everywhere, B, making every surface the exact same shade, or C, a lighter floor and layered tones within the same color family. The most beautiful dark interiors still need contrast and variation. A lighter floor gives the room balance, and layering slightly different burgundy tones creates depth instead of visual heaviness. Okay, be honest, how many did you get right? Let me know in the comments. Now you know what actually makes a color palette feel expensive. Depth, warmth, layering, and materials that actually work together instead of fighting for attention. And if you want to test these palettes in your own home before committing to paint, furniture, or materials, scan the QR code on the screen or check the link in the description to try Planner 5D free for 7 days. If this video helped you look at color differently, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments which palette you would actually use in your own home. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.